Hey everyone, we're back. Hello, I'll be out of the frame for most of this video. We're looking at the 12 English tenses. I know there's a lot going on in this chart, but I really just wanted to show all the tenses here in one shot, and then we'll go through them one by one. I'll go a little bit quick. I'll go as quick as I can actually, but I just wanted to show this chart because for a few reasons it's really helpful. One, you can see everything in the past, present, and future. The other thing is it's a great chart you can make at your in your own home, and you can do an activity to kind of test yourself and see if you understand all these tenses pretty well. So, for example, you can use these 3x5 index cards, and you can write an example of each tense on one side. And then if you were to lay this on the floor, you could say, okay, I will walk, or he, she will walk. So will, I know, is future. Walk, the walk is in the base tense of the verb, using the base verb. So I know that's, simple future. So I would put it here. And then if this were laying on the floor, I could just flip it over and say, okay, yeah, that's correct. So simple future, for example. The other nice thing is it shows all the tenses, and then you can kind of see patterns emerge with each tense. So for each tense, we'll start with the past. There's 4 forms, right? So with the past tense, the 4 forms, and they're all the same for every tense. So each tense has past, the simple tense, the continuous, or in other words, progressive, and then there's the perfect and the perfect continuous tenses. So each tense, whether it's the past, present, or future, has the simple, continuous, perfect, or perfect continuous. So all of those tenses exist in the English language. And so I'm just going to go through these as quick as I can and pause where I'm needed. So when we talk about tenses, we're talking about time and how we speak about time. So we can speak about time in 3 major categories, and that's why they're broken up into these 3 sections. But we can talk about time in the present, which is right now. We can talk about it in the past, or we can talk about it in the future. So I'm just going to go through these. To form the simple past tense, we need to change our verb and add the suffix ed. Or for irregular verbs, they change form completely. Like the verb speak becomes spoke, or run becomes ran. All right, so simple past, I would say I, he, she, they walked. All right. If I'm talking about the past continuous, we're going to have always the continuous tense. We change the verb by adding ing. Always, always, always. We're any continuous tense. We also have to add an auxiliary verb, which is like a helping verb. For the past, it's was or were. And so just to show you an example of what that would look like, let me pull out simple past continuous. Past continuous, he, she, I was or were not driving, or they were driving, or he was driving, right? So that's our past continuous. If we're looking at our perfect forms, our past perfect, we're going to use the auxiliary verb had. Had is talking about the past, referring to the past, and our past participle. So our past perfect, our example here is he, she, they had spoken. And you notice we're not using the simple form, past form of spoke, we're using spoken. So always use the past participle. For most past participle forms, you can just add ed, but for irregular verbs, just like for irregular verbs, they change tense like spoke, so will past participles. All right, and then we have our past perfect continuous tense. So our past perfect continuous tense is they had been speaking. Right? And we're going to add had, but also our be form, been, and they had been speaking. So again, we have to add certain elements to make sure the structure is correct for each tense. So let's move on to the present. So simple present, right? We could just say, I sit, or you sit, or they walk, he walks, she walks, it walks. So simple present, right? Simple present. And we're just using the base verb for simple present. All right, so present continuous. We're using the verb form be, which is, right? Or are. So present continuous, we would say he, she is teaching, or he is talking, or they are talking. So I'm just going to add this here because I don't have it written up here for us. Excuse me. Are. They are, we are sitting. We are looking at this chart. Right? So that's present continuous. So our present perfect, our auxiliary verb is has or have, plus the past participle. Right? So in that case, our present perfect, we're going to say he, she, or they, or he, she, it has been a line cook for 4 years. They have lived here since January. And I'm just going to pause here with the present perfect tense. There's a little asterisk there. The reason why is because many times people ask questions in the present perfect tense. Like, for example, how long have you lived here? Or have you seen this movie? So they're asking about all the time in the past up until the present time if you have completed a certain action. Have you been to Spain? Have you traveled to Europe? Yes, I have, or no, I have not. And it can be specific or it can be pretty general. So our next tense is the present perfect continuous tense. So our present perfect continuous tense, we're talking about an action that has started at some time in the past, but it's continuing on into the present. So it started sometime in the past, but it's continuing all the way on into the present. So for example, you could say he, she, it has not been working, or they have not been working, or we have not been working, or we have been looking at this chart. We have been looking, verb plus ing, looking at this chart for about 10 minutes, or since whatever specific time, 12:30 or something. right? So present perfect continuous. And again, we have our auxiliary verbs, has, have, plus the be form of the verb, been. And then if it's continuous tense, we always have our verb plus ing with the suffix. Okay? And then our simple future tenses, our future tenses. So our simple future, we just add the auxiliary verb will plus the base form of the verb. So I will walk. He or she will walk. They will run. Right? Simple future. Our future continuous, we have, again, it's the future, so we have to use will, plus if it's a continuous, the be form of the verb, plus ing, the verb with the suffix ing. So they will be speaking tomorrow at the conference or whatever. They will be exercising at the gym tomorrow, or they will be running at the park tomorrow night. So future continuous. Next one, we have future perfect. So will, again, all of our future has to have will, referring to the future, the time in the future. And here, this example on this card says, they will have spoken. So we need will plus our auxiliary verb have plus our past participle. So they will have spoken. They will have looked at the museum. They will have studied the 12 tenses by next week. Right? So that's, again, our future perfect. And then our last one, our future perfect continuous, we have to have, not only do we have to have will and have, but we have to have our be form of the verb. So you need to add that. They will have been. And then our continuous tense, our verb plus ing. So they will have been speaking tomorrow. He will have been speaking. They will have. She will have. So for our future perfect continuous tense. So I know it's a lot of information. There's a lot going on in this chart. It's nice to, again, you can create your own chart at home, and you can use these 3x5 cards to kind of quiz yourself. So you can look at this card and say, okay, they will have been speaking. So what tense is that? Well, it has will, so I know it's the future. It has speaking, so that's in the continuous tense. I know that's a continuous. So I know for sure it's future and it's continuous, so it's one of these. And then I have been. So I know have been is a perfect tense, or have. So you can kind of guess by studying these a little bit in detail. So I know it's future perfect. You could first kind of lay them out and see, okay, which tense belongs to which card belongs to which tense. All right. So I'm just going to pan over really quickly so you can kind of see it in more detail. Let me flip this around if I can. It's not going to. So I'll go ahead and just pan over. So here's our past tenses. All right, going in. There's the present. And then our future tenses. All right, and then just a couple of last things. My 5-year-old daughter, when she heard I was providing these videos, for my students and for the public. Wanted to share her picture for you all. And just to pay homage really quick to the paintings above this chart. They are beautiful paintings. I'm going to show those real quick. All right, so again, these tenses are really useful to be aware of. They are helpful to memorize, although you don't have to memorize them. Again, you don't have to use the tenses or be or have a specific knowledge of all the tenses in order to speak. You know, it's just if you're trying to talk about time and describe events, these tenses are here to help you understand how you communicate that to someone else, whether speaking or in writing. So I hope this was helpful. If you'd like to, I can send you a free grammar book. It's a PDF book. It has practices with all the tenses. So there's an email address, editfinder@gmail.com. You can email me and I'll respond back pretty quickly. If you have any questions, let me know. But I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys, again, as always, stay safe and healthy. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. And have a good night. Thank you all.